Hi there, it's Tasha Belix. I'm a registered psychologist and this is Tasha Talks to Teens. This Facebook Live is totally appropriate for young people to watch. I'm talking teens and up, and most definitely a little bit of education and maybe some understanding around why we see self-injury in our young people and what we might do. And so I wanted to teach a little bit about this. By no means are these talks the same as talking to your family doctor or a mental health professional, but sometimes having a little bit of guidance and some ideas and a bit of a roadmap to follow can make the pathway to better mental health and supporting our young kids a little bit easier, especially when our own stuff is triggered and it's really hard to know what to do next. And so if you know a young person, if you're an educator, or a parent yourself, and you see often it's cut marks on the arm, but some sort of evidence of self-injury, it can be really normal to want to avoid having discussions about it, sometimes responding with frustration and anger or trying to convince your loved one not to do it, even stepping into the role of saying, when you do this, it really hurts me. And so I would, however we might respond, I'm meeting it with the most compassionate response I can have. We're not given a roadmap on what to do, and know that a young person that may be dipping into this behavior is really trying to find a way to make sense of their own emotional pain. And so in the history of the world, I don't think anyone's ever felt better or wanted to share some of their inner world if it's coming from a place of feeling shamed. And so I would suggest more so following some of the stuff that I'm gonna offer today. Most definitely, if you can keep it in your mind, this is a symptom of a young person that needs support. And know if you're a parent or you're a teacher, you probably are one of the best people in your young person's life or student's life to actually be that starting point of having some of those tough conversations. And so, you know, the reality with self-harm is that, you know, in that adolescent world in Canada, 1 in 10 young people will use it as a way to manage stress or anxiety or, you know, feeling out of control with tough emotions. It does present more frequently in the female population. So actually, before graduating from high school, 1 in 3 young women in Canada would report using self-injury as a way to manage their own anxiety. I don't know where that is. Those statistics are, now that the pandemic has started, my sense would be that it might be more prevalent than maybe it was in the past, because a lot of our coping strategies, ways we move anxiety through our body, have a break from friendships that aren't working so well, get away from our family, a lot of these outlets and really healthy ways to move emotions through our body, we're not getting to do them in the same way. And so why would someone self-harm? You know, we think, why would you hurt yourself? It doesn't make sense. There might be a permanent scar. And really know that it's when our system is overwhelmed and we're flooded with emotions, doing something physical to our body, like cutting, takes our emotional pain and actually calms it down. So when we hurt ourselves, we have a flood of opiates that wash over our brain and settle a system down. It actually helps numb out and calm a system, like a painkiller. And then there's a second step that happens afterwards. It's like a surge of energy. And so what it does really is, from a place of overwhelm or I'm numb and I don't know what to do, to a place of feeling calmer and more settled. So it actually works. The problem is like with anything that has such a quick fix to it, it can be something that starts to be a pattern that gets to be more needed to be done more frequently and with more severity to get the same results. So it can become kind of addictive. And so that's sort of the why behind it, because it works. And we know that if you're a young person that's watching this, know that lots of people have found other strategies with time to be able to settle their systems down that are healthier strategies in terms of it's something that I could do and use my whole life, and it's not going to cause harm to me or become something that is going to get maybe bigger and more severe and have more of an impact on me. So things like journaling, I put down all that stuff into my journal. It might be through poetry writing, painting. Some people, you know, obviously working with a therapist or talking to someone that they really trust about the stuff that they keep to themselves. So it's often in a really healing and safe relationship that we can make sense of some of this stuff, even just being out in nature. So there are many, many ideas and that you might come up with, hundreds of them, on how to settle your system. And sometimes it's trying things and seeing if it works. Mindfulness can be really helpful. Even just finding a way to take a break and get outside with a friend and go skateboarding can even be something that can distract you away from having that urge long enough that you have a little bit more power to go do something else instead. If you're a parent, it would be understandable that you might be a bit scared, maybe more than a bit scared, and have your mind kind of jump to the worst scenario. And I would say, if you can be compassionate to yourself in the moment, take a deep breath and know that I want to lean into a conversation with loving kindness. I want to be as non-judgmental as I can and come from a place of concern, to just hear what's going on, but to acknowledge what I see in front of me. That's the best place to start. And it could sound something like this. I realize that it's totally up to you whether you want to trust me with your big feelings or not, but I want you to know that I really care and I'm here to listen. I see marks on your arm and it has me really worried. And that could be the place where we keep our mouth quiet. We've said that we see it. We've said that we care and we're ready to listen. And then really it's the onus is on the young person. Do they trust us enough to share a little bit more about what's going on with them? I would reach out to your family doctor. Docs are doing phone calls and checking in with young people right now and doing a bit of an assessment over the phone. So family doctors are excellent. If that gut feeling in you is wondering if there's other thoughts going on that might be, just scary, or I'm wondering if this person's having thoughts about not wanting to be alive tomorrow, again, ask. When we get the information, whether it's scary to hear or not, then we know that what we can do to kind of be safe. And so a lot of young people parents are bringing them to emerge departments to get an assessment done that way too. So I just want to be clear on knowing that there's always support. And for young people, the crisis line is available 24/7 as a way to connect and get some support from a caring professional on the other end of the phone. You know, I think sometimes we forget how important it is to connect with other people. And so even as a parent, it might be looking for creative ways to build, how can I connect with this young person a bit more? I notice I'm spending a lot of time in their bedroom. How can I kind of pull them out a little bit, even if it's to play a little game of cards, or can I bring them a cup of tea and sit there and chat for a few minutes? Might be asking about the music that they're listening to, even though it might have horrible lyrics in it that are very offensive to you. You might come from a place of, my young person actually needs me to get busy in their world. And maybe it's through their music or something that they're really interested in, that could be an avenue to kind of build a bridge to have easier connection and celebrate them and get to know kind of what is in their interest and in their world. And know that, like everything else, we're equipped to deal with tough stuff through our whole lives. And I would not hesitate, if you are a young person or an adult worried about a young person, to reach out for support. No roadmap is given to us as parents that lets us know how to handle this stuff. And it's okay to ask for help. If you have questions about kind of what I've shared today, pop them in the chat. I'm happy to give a response. And if it's woken up something that has you kind of worried, I would encourage you to reach out to your family doctor or the crisis line or someone that you really care about in your world to let them know that you need some support. because it's with other people that we get through tough things. Until next time, I encourage you to breathe and, if possible, get outside in the beautiful weather and be well. Bye for now.